All right, everybody, this is Trippy Cake's Mr. Fantastic Tier 3 review. I wanted to take a little bit of time to actually enjoy the game before I started cranking out videos. His gears were a little bit of a pain in the ass, and he does cost about 1200 CCF. So to get started, these are my stats. He had a pretty decent boost to them once I did hit Tier 3. I'm still working on his Urus, and he is possible to build both offensively and defensive. I kind of went for a hybrid with Overdrive, and then I do also have a CTP of Destruction. I started with Authority, but I didn't like how that was. I felt like he needed a proc of some sort. So this here is my face-off against the Tier 3 Sharon Rogers. Early in 007 Nightfire leaves, so it's his Tier 3 Sharon Rogers versus my Tier 3 Mr. Fantastic. And I did go and I checked this guy's Sharon Rogers, aside from like a fully awakened ISL, just one of them. He had a pretty solid build, and his cards were also very solid. So I did a hell of a lot better than I expected him to, which is great considering the cost that it took to get him. And Sharon Rogers is the highest DPS in the game, arguably. I can't think of anybody who does higher damage than her. I'm not saying that that makes her the best character, but I'm saying that she's got some ridiculous damage, and to out damage Sharon Rogers, that actually means something. So then I went over to World Boss Ultimate, only did stage 32, but he's got a little bit of survivability issues. Well, not issues, but he, how do I put it? He's not as tanky as he seems if you were to glance over not only his stats, but what his skills do. So you have to be very careful, and that's with most characters that don't have a heal or many shields or anything like that. So he does lack a little bit in that department, but he's still very manageable, and his damage is out the wazoo. Now, if I had a CTP of energy, she probably would have been dead right there, but that's not how I wanted to build her. Not her. That's not how I wanted to build him. I kind of wanted to see, if he would hold out in PvP. So I waited a little bit. You can't go wrong with Destruction. It's still a damage proc. So overall, he did this pretty well. I did have to switch out a few times, as you can see, but that's just because I wanted to survive. Let's see. I'm not disappointed at all with him. I understand that with the Epic Quest, he was going to cost that extra 300 CCF, which kind of sucks. That's just from like a farming perspective. But so far, he seemed to have been holding up, that cost price. I'm not saying that, he's the first tier 3 that anybody should go for. He's not a good starter tier 3. I will say that. I'm still going to leave that to Deadpool and Captain America. But if you don't like Captain America, then he is definitely a great alternative to him. He does a shit ton more damage than, any other combat character. Actually, every combat character, now that I think about it. And even tier 3, even tier 3 cap, I gotta say, I think I'm doing more damage with Mr. Fantastic. So I went and I did the typical mission where you go and you fight Odin. I took off autoplay because I didn't want the AI to use my tier 3 skill before I got there, because I just wanted to see how fast he could clear it and what his damage looked like. And he makes really, really quick work of Odin, just like everybody else. But like, look at that. That was just absolutely intense. So then I took him into the fight with Thanos. Thanos usually takes a little bit longer because he's got all those different iframes, and they wanted to make the mission pretty fancy. But yeah, I really enjoyed him and did not expect him to be as good as he was. I thought he was going to be far more defensive and wasn't going to push out the damage, but he's definitely up there in the damage too. Then I took him into some PvP. He's good as long as you don't have him out first. And like I said, he's a little bit squishy, but if you have him as a character that you put in, then he should be able to take people down pretty easily. But if you have him out first and his skills have that initial cooldown, he's just like everybody else. He's just kind of exposed. So I set it to autoplay, and then I'd swap him. And that skill right there, which is his number 2 skill, is it's not a good skill because it misses. And once he misses, he'll start running across the room flailing his arms. But overall, I am going to say that Mr. Fantastic, I think he was worth the buy. Like, he was worth putting all those the CCF and the debris and stuff like that. And it is a pain to do because he requires a lot more since he is a native tier 2, just kind of like how Deadpool was. So I planned on doing a new tier 3 list of, best to worst with all 11 tier 3. And I wouldn't be surprised if you guys don't see him, somewhere in the top 4, and there'll be specific reasons for that. But overall, his gameplay, he can fit every criteria you need him to, and I think, and this is just theory, I'm not going to test it out yet, but if he goes for that defensive build with healing, I think that might kind of make the difference to my thinking of his downfall. Anyway, this has been Trippy Cakes. Please do like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you guys think. Peace out.